Hi, this is Hadley Thorne, author of the Tapestry of World series. Welcome to Weird Realities, where we explore the weird and unusual world we live in. Join us each month as Gracie Ellison, James Irby, and I discuss our research into conspiracies, paranormal phenomena, mythology, folklore, and talk about our own weird real-life experiences. If this is your jam, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and friend us across social media. You can find us all at one place at Linktree/Weird Realities. And that's weird with a Y because that's what we do. This month, our topic is COVID-19, the year in review, the weird, the woo, and the what. So, hey, Gracie, I can't believe that it's been 1 year since phrases like social distancing, shelter in place, herd immunity, and wear your mask have become common in the U.S. What do you think? What's the last year been like for you?
It has been a horrible year. It has been a stressful year. It has been a year of change. And I think it's been a year where the things that we thought we valued, we don't value as much anymore. And what I mean by that is, things like just getting dressed for work. I mean, I work at home. Sweats are my friend. Jeans are the enemy. I don't know if I'll ever put on a pair of jeans again. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell us how uncomfortable they were? I don't know why I kept wearing them day after day.
Mom pants everywhere. I mean, I know that I've never understood why my mom was had such a distaste for jeans, and now I realize that elastic waistband, once you go there, you don't go back.
All is well in our kingdom if we have stretched pants on. So things that we thought that we needed to do to be part of the society are kind of eroded. Makeup, lipstick, underwire bras, all those are gone.
I know. You'll think I'm silly, but when all of this started, I would get up. I worked from home at the time, and I would get up and take a shower before I went to work because I felt like I needed to get ready. And like now, I mean, I go weeks without wearing any makeup at all, and I'm one of those women who has I won't say gladly embraced the gray, but I mean, I just don't even want to bother trying to color my hair. I have a box of color back there now because I was thinking maybe I'll feel better if I color the gray, but
right.
I haven't taken the time to do it yet.
Oh, I did that too. And when all this first started and we were working at home, I'm like, I want to get up. I want to get dressed every day. And then it just started getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, I did want to talk a little bit before we got started that we've just come out of a Mercury retrograde, which for those of you who aren't familiar, when Mercury's in retrograde, the planet goes backwards and we have a lot of problems with communications. So the retrograde started at the end of January and it ended on the 22nd or 23rd, maybe the 24th, sometime in the last week. And we're currently in a shadow period, which means that we still have some of the impact, but not as much of the problems. Well, computer issues, technology issues are huge during this time period, and it has been crazy. I've noticed with my own laptop's been slower, and I don't know what else is going on, but it's just been interesting. But last night, and I was going to ask you about this. Last night, on one of the lists that I follow, there were some ladies talking about how this one seems worse than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking I wanted to bring it up today because I think it ties into COVID and the pandemic fatigue that we're all experiencing and the depression and the just blah that everybody seems to have, which I don't know if you've noticed it. I know we've talked about it personally.
I have definitely noticed it.
Well, you're not alone, girl, because everybody out there's talking about it.
Some days I just feel like I'm hanging by a thread. It's a lot. And talking about computer issues, I had to record a meeting for work, and somehow my antivirus program corrupted my recording and I had to do it all over again, re-record this big presentation, and I just wanted to cry.
No, it's been bad.
Yeah,
One of the things that you're definitely not supposed to do during this time period is to sign contracts, and things like buying a house is frowned on. Well, as you know, one of my dear friends is in the process of buying a home, and they have had the worst time, and to the point where they've really walked away from it twice. And I sit back and I'm like, well, maybe when this retrograde's over, but her closing date was at the end of January, and I think it's pushed back maybe to Monday now. So that's how long. It's been months of delays. So
it has not been a quiet month.
No,
Remember, I asked you the other day, I said, when will we get a normal month? When? When will that happen?
Yeah, I was talking with a family member, and they were like, well, things will go back to normal soon. And I'm like, I don't know that. I don't know that things are ever going back to normal. And I think this family member is a baby boomer. And I think that in the discussion, I'm looking at it from a perspective of all the things that are changing, from movies, blockbuster movies being released directly to TV, people working from home. There's just going to be more of that. Of course, there are some industries that will always have to go to work. I mean, but we're seeing an increase in telehealth. We're seeing an increase in just a lot of other things. I mean, people are realizing you can do, if you've got the cloud, you can work from home.
Exactly. So, I've done a couple of telehealth appointments and I loved it.
That's what I hear, and I haven't had one yet.
I loved it,
but I've heard that it's very,
I mean, and for simple things like a little upper respiratory infection, or if you've got sinus problems or allergy problems, it's a perfect fit.
Well, isn't that interesting? Well, okay, so we're way off topic now. Imagine that.
We are.
So
that's what you're here for, isn't it? That's what everybody's here for. Listen to us going off topic.
Our three fans. So yeah,
to our fans.
So let's get back on topic. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Wyrd. So on January 20th, 2020, a 35-year-old man recently returned to the United States from Wuhan, China. He was admitted to Providence Regional Medical Center in Everett, Washington, suffering from fever, cough, and general fatigue. This is patient 0 here in the U.S. He was the first of, and these statistics are from yesterday. I got them off of Johns Hopkins website. So they're probably outdated today. But as of yesterday, this was patient 0 for 28,295,594 cases of COVID-19 in the United States, of which 505,957 people have perished due to this illness.
Wow. So we've come from one patient to over 28 million in a year.
In less than 390 days, because it's a little over a year. I did the math last night. I think it was 388 yesterday, so 389 today. So still less than 390. 390 days, we've seen an increase. And I know that you laugh at me, but I come back to the zombie apocalypse, and I've been preparing for the zombie apocalypse, probably since my teens. So it's been a long time. I've always been terrified of zombies and aliens. Just two things that I've always just, what are you going to do? So there is and I'll have to find it because I've been really wanting to look at it. It shows the rate of which a zombie apocalypse would infect the United States. And it's a interactive map that you can use. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking I would really like to compare that to something similar with the COVID-19 virus spread. Mm-hmm. Because it spreads so easily. And that's one of the things that, I think that people really believe that it is man tweaked. It's been tweaked by mankind type of virus
Right.
because of that. But on the flip side, we have the measles, which the measles, one person can infect 12 to 16 people.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I say this because originally in the Tapestry series, that was when I'd originally started off, I was going to do like a plague, and that was the research I started was looking at something that kind of combined measles with the flu.
Mm-hmm.
And since the pandemic, I've kind of walked away from that. I mean, I say this jokingly, but COVID-19 has ruined the zombie apocalypse for me because I see.
Well, it's not fiction anymore.
It's not, and we're so lucky that it's not zombies because people have not taken, and I'm not talking about any one person, this is not a political statement, but people have not done their best to not get infected. When we're seeing numbers like close to 30 million people is what we're approaching. People are not taking. I mean, imagine if that was zombies. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? I mean, what kind of chance would a chubby girl like me from Mississippi have? Not much.
One time I saw a T-shirt and it said, "If I'm running, you better run too because zombies are after me."
Exactly.
Because I don't run for any good reason. I totally relate to that.
I had a boyfriend one time that was in the military, and he loved that I said this to him because I think he realized I was being honest. Which I said, if you get bit by a zombie, I'm killing you. I'm not waiting around.
Exactly.
Because I see how that goes down in the movies. It never ends well.
Exactly.
Once you're infected, it's not good.
It's not good. You're not coming back from that.
No, you ain't coming back from it. But we're so lucky it's not zombies. So lucky. And I know some people are disappointed because we're wanting to have that survivalist thing going on. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, you saw how people acted over toilet paper.
Yeah, we were like toilet paper zombies. I mean, it was a rabid race to get that precious roll of toilet paper.
And I was embarrassed because I really thought, and I think that, the state that we live in, because of the hurricanes and tornadoes that we have seen probably destruction, and this isn't putting down anybody else's, natural disasters, but the natural disasters we've had here, like Katrina, it really did kind of show us an apocalyptic type situation. But people get stupid over the toilet paper.
I know, right? I mean, who knew? It really peeled back a lot of hidden truths about our society, like things that were kind of bubbling underneath the surface. I feel like really boiled over.
No kidding. It brought out I'm not even going to say the best. I mean, but people have just I don't even know. It's been such a divisive thing.
It has been. It's you think back to our grandparents and great-grandparents going through the Depression and World War II and all the sacrifices that they made and rationing and going off to war. I don't know if our society today would handle that with as much dignity as that generation did.
Well, no, they went from what was it? World War I, the Depression, and then within 20 years, they did have World War II. I mean, it was just all at once for them, and I mean, they had nothing, and we complain if our internet's down. Our internet's slow. Y'all heard me complain. We complain about toilet paper. I mean, these people, they didn't have that.
I know. I mean, victory gardens and rationing and, just not even having things beyond rationing. I mean, they just didn't have certain things. I don't know if we could survive something like that today, especially after seeing the events of last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree there. It's been different.
It has been. It has been. And, I think,
Our society
if
is
you are, if you're a fan of us, you listen to our Great Conjunction podcast, how we talked about how we are in the age of Aquarius, and it's like an unveiling. We're really peeling back the layers of that onion. I feel like that's what we're doing now. And we're finding different layers of our society and our culture that we didn't understand that was there.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things that I read in preparing for this particular episode was a report where the United Nations executive director declared the science is clear that if we keep exploiting wildlife and destroying our ecosystems, then we can expect to see a steady stream of these diseases jumping from animals to humans in the years ahead, which I thought was
Absolutely.
very interesting. Because we are very dependent upon our, I guess, urban lifestyles.
Well, this is it. Our earth is a delicate balance. And we as mankind, when we upset that balance, we're going to have to pay those consequences. If you think about the expansion into the rainforest and how we're going into areas that we've never been in before, we're going to encounter these things we were really not meant to encounter. That's why it was protected. That's why it was isolated. That's why it wasn't hospitable for life, for human life. And we're supposed to have stayed out of it. We are the victims in the horror movies that went into areas we're not supposed to. You shouldn't have gone in there.
My thing about it's not just that we go in there, it's that man tends to go into places with the intention to change, to
Right.
make it better, when there's nothing wrong with the way it is. It's in balance with Earth. But we want to go in, and I get clean water. Clean water is very important. Everybody deserves to have clean water. But at the same time, we try to, I don't even know what you would call it, when you go in and just,
We try to transform areas to suit our needs, and we had no business doing that.
well, and I think it's more than that. I think it's that we take away, like we'll go into a place where we have an indigenous tribe, and then we try and take away their identity and make them more like us,
Mm-hmm.
when that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is wrong.
Right.
But going into a little bit of the woo here, which that's what I'm for, is the woo. A lot of people in the kind of, I guess, metaphysical type culture, they think that this is what I'm hearing is a big push that COVID-19 is Mother Nature's way of rebalancing the planet, which ties in with what the United Nations director said.
Right.
That the sickness that we're experiencing is part of a bigger sickness facing the human tribe. We're sick because we are not living in harmony. One of the people I found is quoted as saying, "We are creating sickness around the earth by polluting it and not being kind to one another." And that's, I mean, we're not. I don't know where COVID-19 comes from. I personally think that somebody, in a lab somewhere tweaked something and it got away from them. I don't think anybody did it. I'm not going to say I think anybody did it intentionally, because I don't know who they are and what their intentions were. So I have no way of knowing that. But I do believe that it was something that was altered in some way.
I agree with you, because I feel like this virus is too complex to have randomly occurred in nature. I don't really 100% buy the wet market story. I think it's a lot more complex than that.
But the wet market is a hot mess of stuff.
It is, absolutely. I mean, there are things that we just really don't need to eat. We don't need to, consume endangered animals.
Well, that ties into what I personally think about overpopulation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we should not have so many people on the planet that they don't have food to eat. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying we should kill anybody off, but I'm saying that this could be going back into the Mother Nature's, is writing the overpopulation situation by manifesting some type of virus that will, or I don't know. It's very complicated. It's so complicated.
There's a lot of layers to this discussion because, like I said, COVID has just been such an odd virus. I mean, because it affects people in different ways. People have different symptoms. Some people, think they just have a cold. Other people end up in the hospital. There's no rhyme or reason to what will happen to you if you get infected.
Well, that's an interesting point because in the UK, they're seeing a rise in witchcraft and possession allegations over the coronavirus.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Because I guess I look at, when I think of Great Britain, I think of, I think of them as being progressive, as not having something I would think you see more in a third world country.
It's a civilized first world country, correct?
Yeah, I just wouldn't think they'd have accusations of witchcraft and ritual attacks.
Right.
But they're having a lot of it. Believers are in conflict with authorities' warnings. That it's just, and I guess maybe because they do have a lot of like pagan witchcraft type religions there that are more open than people really are in the United States with that.
Right.
That maybe that's where it comes from, but I don't really know. But I did find where here's some cases of evidence of hypothesized links between COVID-19 and these accusations of witchcraft and ritual attacks. So in 2020, there was back in May, there was a girl in Haiti who died after being given turtle blood by a witch doctor to cure the coronavirus. In India, around the same time, there was a Hindu priest who beheaded a man in a human sacrifice at a temple in a bid to end the coronavirus pandemic in India. And then later in June, there in Kenya, there was some concerns raised that witchcraft was killing their business by some people there, and authorities had to get involved. So, and those are just the cases that I could find. And I thought that was really interesting because, like I said, it is very. There are people. I mean, and we've seen it here, and I mean.
You know what I think a lot of it is?
And I want to say this, guys. First and foremost, I am the most neutral person you'll ever meet. And as long as you're not trying to harm me, I'm pretty passive over my opinion on what other people choose to do with their life. So having said that, I've seen, I mean, it's like a witch hunt here with people with masks. And you have the people who they totally think that you should wear a mask, and then you have the people who think that you totally shouldn't. And it is scary. These people are like both of them are very intense about their beliefs, and I'm just like, I don't want to get sick.
I don't get sick either. And I believe in science, but I also believe in the earth. I believe in positive and negative energies. And I think a lot of the issues that we've been seeing, and like the stories you were just talking about, we have so many unknowns in our world today that a lot of people they can't handle it. Like, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to try to put some sort of meaning onto it, whether it be productive or destructive.
Exactly.
And it sounds like it's a lot of destructive.
Well, for me, the way I personally go through life is that life is not black or white.
No.
It is
A
not one
lot
way
of
or
people
the
think it
other.
is, though.
They do, but we're
Hmm.
walking in shades of gray here, folks. And
Hmm.
I think that there is something on both sides of the camp. I mean, I do believe the science. I believe, this is what the scientific community has proven to me through my,
Yeah.
my personal experience in education and study. And I
Hmm.
also believe what I, have studied and found in the shamanic learnings that I have, in the learnings about energy, metaphysical, new age, Reiki, that sort of thing. I believe that too. And I think that the
Hmm.
truth of it lies somewhere in between. Um, which this is so off topic, but I'm going there. I'm going there. Um, and back, I guess it was like 2000, it was in the 2000s at some point. My cat died, and my neighbor was a Reiki practitioner. And this lady was, when I say off her rocker, she really was. She was a delightful person to be around, but she had some serious mental issues. Nothing to do with Reiki, by the way, because I am a Reiki practitioner. Um, but she thought she could Reiki my cat back to life. And my first instinct was, oh my God, I'm going to have to slap her. Because here I am very upset. I just found my pet. My pet has died. And
Hmm.
I don't believe Reiki can resurrect the dead.
Oh, no. I
And
would have like all kinds of images from Pet Cemetery in my head.
I did too. That was exactly where I went with it. And I thought, oh,
Yeah.
hell no. Church ain't coming back to my house.
No.
But at the same time, I will say this. I had a node on my thyroid. And when I went to my doctor, and this is, after a year of doing Reiki on it and having Reiki practitioners do Reiki on my throat, when I went to the doctor, I did not have that nodule anymore. Reiki
Hmm.
works. And I mean, because my doctor was very surprised it was gone, but
Hmm.
it was gone. And so I look at that. I mean, I believe the truth is it can help with things like that. I do not believe it can resurrect the dead.
Oh, no. And something else we've talked about um, over the past year is it feels like this virus is almost like malevolent. It's very sentient. It feels like it's its own living organism in of itself. Why don't you share with everybody with the story you were telling me earlier about some of your friends that actually did a journey to try to communicate with the virus?
Yeah, actually, a lady I know, she's a practicing shaman. She is part of a group of international shamans, and one of the ladies that she spoke with is a shaman, I think from either Mexico or Peru, and they had done a journey to communicate with the actual virus itself, and they found that it was here with a purpose, that it was something that really it had some things to do, and it was not willing to basically negotiate, is kind of the impression that she had from her experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that's true in a lot of ways. I think we're seeing that. Um, I don't know what since it wasn't my journey, I can't speak for her, and I did hear it third hand, so I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. And a lot of it, like you said, it seems to the rate and the way in which we're seeing this virus mutate with these different strands, like the British strand and the one from South Africa, and I think there's the new one from California,
Right.
which it isn't new, it's been there all along, but it
Right.
seems to target certain demographics, and it seems to shape and shift, kind of metamorphosize when it's in a specific area to clean things out. It's very weird. And that's what I say. I mean, I think I'm somewhere in the middle ground on this, in that I see the woo factor and I wonder, and then I see the science of it, you know?
Right. I think it really is both sides of the same coin. I really do. You have to respect the science, but then you have to look deeper to find the meaning. Why is this happening? And didn't you mention too, like that the shamans, they just didn't want to journey again. They didn't even
No, that was just a blanket over the metaphysical community. It wasn't
we're not trying anymore.
group. It wasn't one specific group that I found, and I have found like where some Peruvian shamans have they're still doing journeys and stuff, but I'll say this, that the people that I know in the metaphysical community, that when all of this started, they went quiet. And they would just say, oh, Spirit told me that I just needed to just hunker down for a while. And I think that's what we're seeing is all the crazy energy out there. And I know you and I have talked about, for the longest time, it seemed like the energy I was feeling to me was like when the TV is on that static station back in the old days when you know,
after the national anthem at midnight.
Yeah, it was just the white snowy TV.
You know? We are that many years old.
Yes, we are. But or a radio station that's not on the channel when you're hearing that white noise. That's what it's been like. And in the last couple of months, I will say that's eased up. But I think that the pandemic fatigue has taken over because people seem exhausted. And I told you this when I recently went to see my doctor. It was the feeling I had from him, and I'm very empathic. So I feel, I don't know, this is my experience looking at him. I don't know if anybody else would notice it, but what I noticed when I saw him was he looked like what I've always thought shell-shocked soldiers look like.
Right.
I have lived with two people with PTSD. I have PTSD myself. And I mean, that's what it was like looking at someone who's suffering in the middle of like, just like being shell-shocked. That's just the only word for it really, is he was off balance. He didn't seem to be able to communicate with me clearly. My health, and that concerned me.
Everybody's exhausted.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure that when you look at the healthcare teams that are out there, they're having to deal with this daily, whether they're in the front lines at the hospital or the clinics. I mean, this is a specialist that I see, and he is not dealing with COVID, but he is, because he has to take care of himself. He has to do the test. In order to keep his office staff, himself, and his patients. I mean, the hoops he's going through every day. It's no longer just what he was doing to maintain a healthy normal. Like I said, when you go back to zombie apocalypse, I have to tell you, when you have to rely on other people to keep you safe and your family safe. And you see some of the behavior out there, it's scary. It's very scary.
And, for the ones that are doing the precautions and taking care of themselves and others, it just kind of hurts your soul when not everyone is on the same page.
It really does. It really does.
And I feel like we're all kind of soul sick at this point.
Well, I think that it's very much true that the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted our faith in different ways. Our faith in others, our faith in God, our faith in Goddess. I just think that with all these restrictions that we've seen implemented, that it's just been an incredible eye-opening situation and heartbreaking situation.
Absolutely. It's been a tough way to go. And Gracie, excuse me, Hadley, I'm Gracie. Guys, you just don't even know the trouble I've seen in this last week.
We recorded this whole thing last night, and it was so bad we had to come back and do it again. That's where we're at. We were so tired.
And we had too many words. We had wrong words.
We went over like 30 minutes and we just babbled.
But what I was going to say to Hadley is that, you mentioned you're an empath. I am too. if you've been in an empath during the last year, we know you're not okay. We understand. It's like we have felt everything.
No one's okay. It's not. I don't think it's limited to empaths. I think that.
I think empaths have I'm going to disagree with that. I think empaths have they've had a worse way to go. I actually read an article about that from I want to say it's from Psychology Today. People that have a high level of empathy, certain characteristics and personality traits, this has been harder on them than it has been for someone that, may not put too much stock into all of this. Or they're not feeling the changing energies. They're not feeling the anxieties when you go to the store. Because some people, hey, they've been fine. They don't care. They just go on and do what they always do.
Well, I'm gonna say something. This is funny. You're gonna think this is funny. So, y'all, for the last probably 3 to 5 years, I have been planning the Great Escape, and I was planning on moving out to Wyoming and not really going off grid, but getting away from people because I want to live in the wide open spaces, and I want to be around animals, and I was just really looking forward to this being able to happen. And I am so glad because I was really looking at like Montana and Wyoming, and one of my family members recently asked me if I was still planning on going off grid. I'm like, well, no, because since the COVID-19's happened, you notice I say the COVID, since the COVID's happened, all of these people have gone off grid. All these people, I saw where real estate in Bozeman, Montana there was none to be found, that it had driven the prices up so high they were looking for people to come and build houses, like $1 million houses. So this whole thing has shifted. It's going to shift the blueprint of our nation, and those places that were, the great escapes are no longer going to be great escapes.
Well, you've seen and I've read it in the news and read some articles about it, but people are migrating from different states. You're talking about Montana. I had seen something from, I think it was CNBC, that California, people are migrating out of California into Montana, into Colorado, and into Texas. And then we're seeing some migrations from northeastern states to places like Raleigh and Nashville and Miami. Everybody's shifting around.
Atlanta is being, what is it? They're kind of being shaped up to be the new Hollywood, I think.
Atlanta's, it pretty much sprawls through the whole state of Georgia now.
Yeah, definitely. Georgia was it was like my backup plan was Georgia, because I love the mountains there. The lower part, or I guess the upper part of the state, the lower part of Tennessee, and where Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia all meet. I was really, really, really in love with that area. And it's like now that I'm kind of in a position where I could move, I'm just gonna hunker down and just wait it out and see what happens, because
according to this report that I watched, they were saying that since we are remote now, so many people are working from home, these tech companies are saying go ahead and stay at home. People are moving for a better quality of life, whether it's less traffic, better real estate, cheaper real estate.
But in doing so, they're driving up the prices, and they're moving in. They're the urban sprawl that they are taking with them is taking away the very reason that they're moving.
Correct, but this was the interesting part of this report. These tech companies, if you did move, they would reduce your pay, because
Oh,
Yeah, so they were saving money. The people that moved, they were happy. They were still saving money because they were living in a less expensive area. It was really, it was fascinating how things are changing so fast,
well,
and how we're really reassessing what, like we talked about at the beginning, reassessing your values and reassessing who you thought you were. You're not that person anymore. No one's that person anymore.
well, I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen, and I am very disappointed about Wyoming, though I still hope to visit one day.
Absolutely. I think in a few years things will level off, but there are some things I don't think will ever change. Like we are permanently changed as a people, as a
Yeah,
culture.
I agree,
And
and that
and
goes
I
into
think
the
those
depression.
changes run deep.
The depression we were talking about seeing. I feel like that's one of the biggest things we're going to see is the breakdown of mental health after
Yeah.
this, because
Well, I mean, mental health services have been hard to find for the last few years anyway. I mean, there's always been a shortage, and it's going to be 10 times worse
well, and
as we go through the months and years ahead.
and I want to say this because we've gotten way off topic again.
Of course
The
we
whole
have.
reason that we were even did this episode was because I was so fascinated by some stuff that you came up with in your um pursuit of your degree, which
Yes.
was it the Crimson Contagion exercise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us
So
about that? Because I mean, let's get into the conspiracy here, guys.
I'm telling you. So I was asked to pick a topic for a paper, and I ended up talking about um, some of the emergency response from Health and Human Services. And during my research, I found that in 2019, our federal government, with the help of Health and Human Services, conducted a simulation, a drill for a pandemic, for a spread of disease here in America. And the drill was called Crimson Contagion. It started in January of 2019. It concluded in November of 2019. And this is what was so surprising about this particular report. It really mirrored some of the things that we're seeing now, and including the spread, how it came to America, how it spread quickly through the population. And it also talked about a lot of problems that we've seen in this last year, like lack of masks and medical equipment, and people not wanting to follow social distancing or quarantine rules. All those elements came into play with this exercise. But this is what the most amazing thing of the whole situation is: the government cleaned up the report before they released it, and they held back all the problems that they encountered during the exercise. So in late January, early February 2020, the real report came out, and it really highlighted some of the things that we've experienced. Not having masks, not having enough medical equipment in our stockpiles or in our hospitals. It also kind of highlighted some of the problems that we've seen, giving a lot of leeway to the states to put different orders into place. It really did suggest a federal run operation. So it's fascinating that they were so in tune to this a year before it happened.
Well, and when did the report come out?
2019.
Okay, I'm going to ask that you give me a link for that so I can put it in our show description so people can look. Because I think it's fascinating, and I think that this is something I wanted to mention earlier, and I just went off a tangent on something else. But I think that a lot of times, and this turns into, it goes into my woo stuff. I think that a lot of times we see these energies coming.
Yes.
I
do.
And people pick up on it, and you'll see, if you see trends in movies and literature and art, because people are picking up on the vibes. And I think that's, somebody had asked me if I thought that my book was prophetic in a way, and I said no. I said I think that it's just the energies, because I've been picking up on the pandemic stuff. I mean, I was wanting to write a book about a pandemic.
Flashback to the late 90s, the early 2000s, how many movies came out about terrorist attacks and, what was it? Oh, the one with Ben Affleck in it. It was where they attacked the Super Bowl. I can't think of the name of it.
I don't even know that I saw that.
It was really good. Some of All Fears. That's what it was. And we had several years span of time where that dominated the media. And you remember, 24 coming out and all these TV shows that really focused on terrorist attacks. Well, we all felt it. We had a collective energy. We felt it.
Well, another time when something like there was a great mass exodus of spirits leaving the plane was when they had that Ring of Fire tsunami.
Right.
And there, again, there was a big, people were feeling the shift and feeling the changes and talking about it prior to it happening.
Right.
I personally had a dream prior to 9/11, and I didn't understand it because that stuff is so weird. But in hindsight, you can kind of make the connection. But I had a dream about a big tower, but it was, in my dream, it was like a castle tower that was on fire and burning.
Right.
And, I remember, because it just stuck with me, and it wasn't in hindsight till we were talking about something else, and I thought, that was like a couple of days before that happened. That's so weird. And it's just like, I wonder if people started looking at the issue, and we talk about like the CDC did the whole zombie apocalypse plan, because I do consider COVID-19 our zombie apocalypse. Again, I know people, it's tongue in cheek and we laugh about it, but really, I mean, we are experiencing a pandemic, and that's what it does. I mean, there's the reason the CDC put it out there.
Exactly.
But, and I'll have to say, once again, Gracie, this is why you are the Scully to my Mulder.
There you go.
So speaking of the X-Files, what are you working on?
Right now, I'm just trying to survive.
Just get through, because you're busy. You're in school full time, aren't you? Aren't you getting I guess like a master's, like a specialization master's degree in something, aren't you?
Yes. So, it's a very challenging program.
It is. And you're teaching school, and you are editing Running and Gunning.
I am.
So, yay. So for those of you who don't know, Tapestry of Worlds Part 2, Running and Gunning, is going to be released on St. Patrick's Day, hopefully. We're working on that now. I've been working with a great artist. We're going to re-release White Raven Awakens around that same time with new cover art from the same artist. I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to have those out there, my babies with their new clothes on. And other than that, what I've got going on is I just appeared on Bipolar Teddy Bear Network, their What the Folk show on YouTube. And I got to tell you, Gracie, those were the funnest guys. I had a good time. They are crazy and they are weird. You're going to love them. I think they want to see you on the show in May, and I think they're going to have James on in April. So we're going to see what we can work out. So other than that, Wyrd Inc. So for those of you not familiar, Wyrd Inc. is our new 1-hour podcast that comes out twice a month. James Irby is our new team member here at Wyrd Realities, and he and I host this awesome podcast where we are exploring fascinating, strange, and inexplicable mysteries with the people who are writing about them. Hopefully we're going to get some filmmakers, some documentary specialist. And I'm even interested in maybe speaking with some artists because, again, talking about that vein of creativity that kind of is connected to the flows of what's going on energetically worldwide. I'm just really, really interested. So Gracie has an open door policy to come on Weirding, so there will be times that you might get to hear her participate as well. We have 2 episodes out currently. One of them is with Joshua Shapiro, the Crystal Skull Explorer, and the last one is with Matt Adams with Nessie. And Matt, it was fascinating. Did you get a chance to listen to that show yet, Gracie? You've got to. It was so interesting. It's talking about the stone chambers and them dating back to pre-colonized America, and it's very mysterious and very interesting as to who built these. And I just really enjoyed talking to Matt. He's hopefully going to come back sometime because we did not even scratch the surface with him. In addition to that, James and I are recording this weekend with a gentleman by the name of Wallace Wagner. Wallace has written a book called, and I've got it right here. It's Crossing the Crevasse, and it covers everything from aliens to the Bible. I think they're giants, just all kinds of stuff, what's going on in the world. He is a fascinating dude, and I cannot wait to tap into what he's got going on. But
that sounds like it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it is. And we've got a couple more coming up in March. We're going to talk with Dennis Stone from American Stonehenge and a gentleman by the name of Chaz that has written a book on, I believe it was a South American UFO incident.
Okay.
So kind of interesting there. I'm very intrigued to see where these things are going. But so Weird Inc. people, y'all need to pay attention. We're out there, we're doing things, we're adding content all the time. So if you guys like today's topic, if you like our program, and you haven't done it already, please hit that like button, subscribe to Wyrd Realities, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our video uploads or our podcast. We are uploading Wyrd Realities once and Weird Inc. twice a month. If you would like to connect with us on social, we are on Instagram at Wyrd_realities, and that is Wyrd with a Y because that's who we are. We're also at Twitter with Wyrd Realities, and our Facebook page is under groups Wyrd Realities. And lastly, if you would like to discuss this program, have a suggestion for a future topic, or know someone that you think should be on the show, would like to appear on the show yourself, please email us at weirdrealities@gmail.com. Until next time, know that the team here at Wyrd Realities appreciate your support, and we hope that you will stay weird. This is Hadley saying good night, Gracie.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Talk to y'all soon.
Bye-bye.